There's a protagonist with the nickname Itchy, a portrait of Itchy painted by someone he's never met. The painter goes missing and he's hired to find her. And then a Guatemalan hitman enters the story. Spoiler alert, somebody dies.
Don't they always? This is The Painted Gun from the latest novel from Brooklyn's Akashic Books. And here to clear up the key mystery, why is he named Itchy, without giving anything away, is author and Brooklyn resident Bradley Spinelli, who, by the way, is also going to give us a little private reading. So welcome to BK Live, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. What was the inspiration for this novel?
I'd been reading a lot of Raymond Chandler, got really hooked on his work and that sort of old school style of noir, and thought it might be fun to try to pull one off. I was also living in San Francisco at the time, which, for whatever reason, American noir really belongs in California. So I just started trying to put it together.
So over the course of this reading, I kept wishing that it was set in Brooklyn, because the way that you wrote it was so descriptive, talking about the highways and the street and your house and or the house and all that stuff. So I wanted it to be like stuff that I could see, because I'm not familiar with San Francisco. Why was it so important to be so descriptive with all that stuff?
Well, I think in all my work I always try for verisimilitude. I want people to recognize the places, that if you were from San Francisco, or if you know the area, that you would go, oh my God, I know that place, I know that street, I know that drive.
It felt like that, even though I don't know it. That's why I wanted it here. So
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's my street.
You should try my other book, Killing Williamsburg. That's set here in New York, and I always aim for that level of realism.
We got
Nice.
an assignment for the weekend.
Killing Williamsburg. And I got to ask you real quick, #Annie Hall was a movie you made? What was that movie about?
Yeah, there was a short film that released a couple of years ago. We've actually recently shot some new footage for it. We're looking into a re-release. The new version is sort of based on the way it was received. It turned out to be a little controversial. Basically, I originally wrote a full feature-length script based on Woody Allen's movie, Annie Hall, flipping some of the roles. I made the lead character, I made the woman Jewish, and because I don't think there have been really very many romantic comedies with a Jewish woman in the central role, and sort of flipped a few other things around and brought it all forward into modern times.
Nice, I want to see that.
Well,
I love Annie Hall.
Back to The Painted Gun for a second.
Thank you.
Because it's very cinematic as well. And like, as I was reading, I guess it's all that description and the characters that are so vibrant. I wonder, this is like the cheap question, but who would you cast as the guy? I was trying to picture the beard and all this stuff. So like, I go to a book club, and at the end of every book club, we cast the book as a movie, because we're dumb Americans and we have to see it instead of read it.
Yeah.
But who are your characters?
You know, I'd hate to spoil that for anybody else. I don't like to get into that stuff. I mean, obviously I'd love to see this being made into a film.
Yeah.
But believe me, if this is made into a film, I'm going to be the last person they ask about casting. That comes down to politics and availability and all those other things. And definitely, I think when you're reading it, I want people to be able to make up their own minds about what the character looks like. One key thing is that I had an idea in my head about how old the character of Itchy was.
Yeah.
And it turns out that I'm wrong. Everybody has told me that he's a completely different age.
Wow.
So I sort of like that. Sometimes we're wrong about our own ideas.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. And I mean, are there other things that pop out for people when they read this book that surprise you? Like some of their takeaways, or maybe not?
I mean, I think a lot of it is the questions, right? Like, I mean, people don't know what's coming next, and then when people get to the end of the book, they're like, well, what happened to this person, and what happened to this person, and how dare you kill this person off? People get very attached to things that perhaps I wasn't particularly attached to. I mean, it's a noir. It's not a spoiler to say that bodies are going to pile up. I mean, this is what we do, right?
Yeah.
And what was we know you're going to read for us in a second. I'm just curious what your writing process is on this. Like, how long does it take you to write a substantial novel like that?
I mean, I tend to work quickly, but this book was one that was written in fits and starts. I started it when I was living in San Francisco in the late 90s. I put it down for a couple of years. And then I did a large chunk of work on it in Guatemala, and that's how the Guatemala angle started seeping into the book, because I probably wrote half of the book there, and then ended up putting it down for a few more years while I did some other projects. There's always a couple of things going on. So in terms of time from thought to publication, we're looking at 20 years. If you want to know how many hours I actually spent in the chair, I have no idea.
Interesting.
It took that long. It feels so fresh. I can't imagine all the stuff you had to shift around to bring it into like the 1997 sort of start date of the thing, if you've been working on this for so long. But whatever, it's a process question.
I had help. I had a really fantastic editor. So the last year has been really, really amazing. Like watching the book sort of really come together and come into a sharper focus. That was a tremendous help.
Well, I hope you take this in the spirit in which it's given, but I was telling the woman who produced this that this made me feel like it's a beach read for men. Like if you're on the beach and like there's someone next to you with this pink thing that's like shoes, blah, 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 oh, my life in shoes. Sorry to be sexist. That you could like read this and it just feel like it goes so fast and the characters are so colorful that you would like sit there with a sunburn until the sun went down until you finish the thing.
Brian,
Excellent.
how dare you?
No, I'll take it. I'll take
Women's
it.
History Month
Please.
and all that jazz.
Beach season is coming up, you know. Grab a couple
like,
copies, give them to your
totally,
friends.
It's totally that kind of book. Plus Dolores, I keep envisioning the car in this thing.
Yeah, I have to tell you, that car is mine. That car
Really?
exists. I still own that car. It's in San Francisco. Come out, join me sometime. I'll take you for a ride.
That done. That would be awesome. Because I ran to the internet to have to look up this car. I wanted to see what it looked like from the way that you wrote it. But
not a fast car, but very, very beautiful.
yeah.
Now, you're going to read a little bit for us.
Sure.
Is that correct?
Sure.
Let's do this. I'm excited. Can you set us up for what it is you're going to be reading?
Yeah, this is really simple. Basically, we're at the front of the book, and this is the first time that a couple of thugs drop by Itchy's place to have a little talk. I barely had a chance to moan before a hand grabbed me and dragged me into the living room, sitting me down hard on the couch and attacking me with a piercing bright light. When my eyes adjusted, I was looking at a face like a slab of meat. "You Itchy Crane? Not even sure you got the right guy?" I got a slap in the face for that. "Don't get smart with me. I don't like smart guys." "What, they make you feel dumb?" I caught another slap for that, one that broke my drunk's rude awakening and brightened me up enough to take an interest in the speaker. "You gonna cut out that smart lip?" Well, I pondered the question, taking advantage of the opportunity to look at the 5-foot, 300-pound side of beef standing in my living room. I was thinking maybe I could take the bastard when a tall, cool character came drifting in from the kitchen, eating a salami sandwich and chewing it loudly. "Just cover him, Al. Let me do the talking." Of course, there would have to be two. Thugs always come in twos in the funny pages. I thought I'd say nothing for a change. "Nice digs you got here," the cool one said. The Colt in Al's hand made me forget about trying to take either of them. "Glad you like the place," I said. "Why don't you make yourself a sandwich or something, you know, make yourself at home?" "Right, why not? So, Itchy, you working this Ashley thing or aren't ya?" He smacked his lips and licked a bit of mustard off a long, pointed index finger. "Nah, I can't say I'm working it. Floundering's probably the better term." "Oh, witty." "Yeah, real sense of humor this guy's got," Al said, waving the Colt in my general direction. "See, this is the thing here, Itchy. Let's just say we don't want you doing anything with this Ashley thing. We think we're just fine without you."
I love it.
And scene.
That was great.
A first dramatic reading of BK Live. That was awesome. So that begs the question, like, have you signed a deal with Audible? Can we listen on tape? Like, do we have to read the thing?
You know, I'd love to see the audiobook happen. Whether or not they'd ask me to do it, that sounds like a lot of work. There are people who do that professionally who are quite good at it.
Well, speaking of work, book tour, where can we see you? What's happening? Are you going to be out promoting this thing?
Yeah, I'm out like crazy. I'm actually in Charlottesville, Virginia tomorrow. Actually, on Saturday is my event for part of the Virginia Festival of the Book. But the big ones I'd love to tell you about, on the 30th of March, I'm at City Lights Books in San Francisco. We're doing a weird offsite event as part of their series called Underground SF. And then I'm at Book Soup in Los Angeles on the 4th of April. And on April 14th, I'm in Chicago with Naked Girls Reading.
With naked girls reading?
Yeah, see, this is this great outfit out of Chicago, and it is exactly what it says. There will be someone reading from the book, and it won't be me.
It's cold in Chicago.
It'll be inside.
The Painted Gun is the book. Bradley Spinelli, thank you for being here. And we have one more reading, I think. Do you mind doing one more to
Sure,
take
if
us
you've
out
got
on?
time. Yeah,
No,
why
we
not?
do. Thank you. We're so happy to have you here. The Painted Gun is the book.
Get
Go out
yourself
and
a
get
copy
it.
of
This is from the tail end of the book. Slight change of scene. We're in the highlands of Guatemala. We wound through majestic hills, climbing steadily upward, the countryside increasingly and impressively verdant. We turned off at a crossroads, the nascent town of Los Encuentros. I jumped off the bus to take a piss behind a line of shacks. Vending carts were lined up like hot dog stands, but with portable fryers behind glass. I bought some French fries, given to me in a brown paper bag with ketchup and salsa verde dumped over the top. I stood as we wound our way down from the crest of the hill, peeking out the windows to watch field workers harvesting potatoes. As we pulled into the local capital, Sololá, traffic came to a standstill. It was market day, and as we shuddered to a stop next to the main square and the bus emptied out, I blinked at the cornucopia of color in the market, the brightly painted chicken buses, the rows of stunning vegetables, the fabric and handicrafts for sale, bright yellow chicks chirping in netted baskets, the hordes of Mayans in multicolored handmade clothing. The men wore straw cowboy hats, breechcloths over pajama-like woven pants, and long-sleeved shirts that were more like jackets, rococo in their decoration, almost Las Vegas in bright pinks and gold, some with resplendent birds stitched on the back. My empty bus filled with new passengers. I was now not just the only gringo, but the only passenger not wearing indigenous dress.